there's a lot of complexity of transmitting power across the U.S., but also rethinking how it's done. John Phipps gives us a look in customer support this week.
Last week, in an answer, I offered a brief refresher course on how our high-voltage AC electrical transmission system works, which it looks a little bit like this. Around the world, countries are adding DC systems, which look more like this. There are multiple reasons for this change. The primary driver is the need to get electricity to places far distant from generators. Ample solar and wind energy in our West, for example, is needed on the metropolitan centers on the coast. Better electrical highways would help. HVDC lines have become the answer around the world, although not so much here. Here are some of the factors. First off, the rectifiers and inverters to connect HVDC to local AC distribution are expensive, and so the whole system doesn't break even until the lines reach more than about 650 miles. Landowners on the route should appreciate this advantage. HVDC towers are much smaller with fewer lines compared to AC lines carrying the same amount of power. Solar and wind supplied power need not be synchronized as is necessary for AC lines. Greater capacity means fewer lines and towers would be needed, and HVDC gets more economical the longer the line, just the opposite of AC lines. HVDC is a better answer for undersea power transmission, which leads to what I think will be the workaround for the challenge of trying to get cross-country lines built, especially in the U.S. For example, the planned 2,600-mile Sun cable from Queensland, Australia, undersea to Singapore would supply 15% of that country's power and boost both economies. Wind, and to a lesser extent, solar power developers are coupling HVDC undersea cables with ever larger offshore turbines and arrays. U.S. geography and population is almost ideal for such a solution. For wind, coastal waters avoid contentious land disputes and locate turbines where winds are more constant and stronger. Along our densely populated coasts, out of sight, out of mind generation escapes a lot of legal and economic headaches, not to mention public resistance. American opposition to infrastructures of all kinds, from pipelines to transmission lines, may slow our transition to renewable energy, but it could also spawn some ingenious alternatives.
Thank you, John. Well, county fairs are in full swing for some of you, and whether it's the first or decades of fair fun, we celebrate the work and the people who make the magic happen every year. From the Farm is next.